Hello students, Jai Swaminarayan. This is Professor Uruvish Mewada, Head of the Department in the Electrical Engineering Department, Sri Swaminarayan Institute of Technology, Bhat Gandhinagar. I am the subject matter of Industrial Instrumentation subject, which is in the 7th semester, and GTU subject code of this Industrial Instrumentation subject is 21709113. This is the third lecture of industrial instrumentation. In previous two lecture, we studied about basic instrumentation system and the static and the dynamic characteristic of the transducer. So in this third lecture of chapter number 1 transducers, the third topic which we are going to discuss is classification of the transducers in detail. So before we classify the transducers in detail, we should know the selection criteria for the transducer. So this is the selection process. We need to uh, check all the criterias which which must be fulfilled while we select the transducer for the measurement purpose. Here transducers basically measure physical quantity into the electrical quantity, so we must be aware with input and output relationship, the nature of the output of the transducer, the operating range of the transducer, or there are so many criterias that we have to keep in mind while we select the transducers. So these are the criterias which we should keep in mind while we select the transducers. So first criteria is operating principle. So as I explained you that we should know the input and output relationship and the nature of the output. So as per our requirement, we select the transducer, means the output of the transducer must be in uh, electrical in nature. So the operating principle basically use the elements, the characteristics of the elements which we use in the electrical engineering, that may be resistive type, inductive type, capacitive type, or any other advanced devices we use as a transducer. So first of all we should know the operating principle of the transducer, because as we are aware with the operating principle of the transducer, we should have an idea to give the physical quantity, which physical quantity we should give into the input, and what will be the nature of output from the operating principle. Now the second criteria is sensitivity. So the transducer must be sensitive enough, that is the basic requirement of the transducer. So basically the output which is generated by the transducer must be detectable. So it should have the proper sensitivity and it should have the detectable output for the further process. Now the third point is operating range. So this is the important criteria while we select the transducer, means the transducer should maintain or the range requirement and have a good resolution, means it should have a good range as well as the resolution, means the output which we can easily measure or we can easily check if the resolution of the device is good. And operating range means we should select appropriate transducer for appropriate range for the measurement purpose. The fourth characteristic is accuracy. So basically we assured a high accuracy transducer, because if accuracy of the instrument is not proper, then we need to take consequent readings, and from that consequent readings we need to we have to select the lump sum reading from the that all the readings. So that's why accuracy is necessary thing while we select the transducer. Now cross sensitivity, this cross sensitivity is associated with, if we are using two stage transducer, means first is mechanical and then electrical conversion type transducer, then this is very essential. So it has to be taken into the account when we measuring mechanical quantity, and there are, we can say, situations where the actual quantity is being measured in one plane and the transducer is subjected to variation in the other another plane. So while we use the two stage transducer, at that time cross sensitivity is very essential. Now the error. So yes, we are all know that the device has minimum error, and the error describes the difference between input and output. So if there is no large difference between input and output, then that instrument is called accurate or errorless instrument or minimum error instrument. So it should maintain the expected input output relationship, so we can minimize the error while we measure the physical quantity with the help of transducer. Now the next point is transient and frequency response. These two points are associated with dynamic input change, so it should meet the desired time domain specification. Like we can say, in previous lecture we studied about the static and dynamic characteristic. In dynamic characteristic we studied about the peak, overshoot, rise time and settling time. So this all criteria must be fulfilled while we select the transducer. Means it describes the transient and frequency response of the transducer, so it must be adequate while we measure the dynamic quantity, and we are using that transducer for the measurement purpose. Now the loading effect. So this loading effect basically it describes the impedances of input side and output side. Basically at the input side we should keep the high input impedance, and at the load side we should keep the minimum impedance. The reason is to keep this high impedance at the time of at the starting, or we can say at the input side, so it can load the source, so that the proper input, or we can say gradual input we can give in the input side of the transducer. And if the output impedance is low, so it should have the good resolution. So while we select the transducer, we should keep in mind the loading effect. So to avoid the loading effect, we keep the high input impedance and low output impedance. Now the next criteria for the selection of transducers are environmental compatibility. So it should be assured that the transducer should work under specific environment condition, and it should maintain the input and. So for the environmental compatibility, the transducer selected to work under specified environmental condition. So it should maintain the input-output relationship in any of the conditions. Means if the conditions are changing while we measure the physical quantity with the same transducer, it should give the same output in any of the environmental conditions. So environmental compatibility is most required while we select the transducer. Now insensitivity of the unwanted signal. So here I want to explain that these transducers are basically we use in the industry. So industry has so many means very noisy atmosphere and very large vibrations at the premises. So that can harm the means performance, that can harm the performance of the transducer. So the transducer which we use at that premises, it should have insensitive or to unwanted signal, means for that signals it should not give the output. Only the quantity which we are going to measure and which we need to measure, for that quantity transducer should give the response with proper accuracy and proper resolution. So these are the selection criteria for the transducer. Now the next topic is classification of the transducer. So basically transducers are classified by this 5 points. The first point is active and passive transducers. The second point is analog and digital transducer. The third point is on the basis of transduction principle used. Fourth point is primary and secondary transducer, and the fifth point is transducer and inverse transducer. These are the classification criteria for the transducer. So we will discuss all the criteria in detail from the next slide. So the first point or the first classification criteria is active transducer. So basically active transducers do not require any external source, means they are self generating in nature. So now the active transducers, as the active transducers are self generating, so it operates under the energy conversion principle, and as the output of active transducer we get equivalent electrical output signal. So that's why active transducers does not require any external source, and it will measure physical quantity into the electrical quantity or any other, means mechanical or any other form of the quantity. So basically active transducers are classified by this way. So these are the classification of active transducer. The first is the photovoltaic transducer, then thermoelectric transducer. This photovoltaic transducer is related with the light, means if we imparted light on this device, it converts that light into the electrical quantity. Then thermoelectric, it is related with the temperature. Electromagnetic, it is related with the electromagnetic waves. Piezoelectric, it is related with the mechanical vibrations, and rest and some of other active transducers are chemical or Hall effect transducer, etc. So these are the active transducers. Now the next topic is the next point is passive transducer. So as we know that in active transducer we does not require any external source. So in the passive transducer we require the external source for the power for the operation, and they are not self generating type transducer. That's why DC power supply or audio frequency generators basically we use for the transducer for the actuating quantity, as an actuating quantity. So for the passive transducer, this is the classification of the passive transducer. So in passive transducer, the first classification is variable resistance. So we are using the characteristic of the elements which we basically use in the electrical engineering. Basically we have resistive elements, capacitive elements, and inductive elements, and any other any and there are other elements which we means like electric or Hall effect transducer. So this type these are the some other working principle. This transducer have some other working principle compared to the resistive, inductive, and capacitive. So first of all we'll start with the resistive. So in resistive we have the strain gauge. So basically strain gauge work on the principle of change in length of the conductor. Now the variable in the variable resistance, the other types are thermistor, and then potentiometric transducer, then photoconductor transducer, or we can say LDR, light dependent resistance. So here we are changing the resistance by giving the input quantity. Here in the strain gauge we are giving the mechanical tension and compression, and in the thermistor we give the temperature as an input, physical quantity, and photometric and photoconductor will give the light as an input to change the resistance. And as the resistance change, the resistance which is connected in the circuit, so if resistance change, the output voltage of the circuit will change. So we can measure that physical quantity in terms of electrical quantity. Now the next classification of the passive transducer, next point is variable reactance. So basically we have two types of circuit, inductive circuit and capacitive circuit. So in inductive circuit generally we can change the reluctance of the circuit, we can change the permeability of the circuit, and we can change the EMF of the circuit. So we use these three principles for the measurement of physical quantities. Now the second point of this variable reactance is capacitive transducer. Generally we use capacitive transducer for the displacement measurement, for the level measurement. So if we use the principle of capacitance, generally capacitance depending upon the distance between two plates, area of the plates, and the dielectric medium which is present in the capacitor. So we use that principle to measure the physical quantity. Then the next point is in the passive transducer is optoelectric. So it is related with that light. So photo cell and photo emissive devices we use to measure the physical quantities. And the next is some other transducer we can use, that is Hall effect transducer. So these are the passive transducer. We will discuss all the transducers in detail in next consequent chapters. So no need to worry about the working principle of all the transducer. Just you have to give the brief idea of each and every transducer while such kind of questions will ask in the exam. So from the animation picture we will easily understand the active and passive transducer working function. So this is this cylinder is nothing but the piezoelectric crystal. Piezoelectric crystal material is basically quartz material, and quartz material has the property that when we give the mechanical pressure in the input of piezoelectric crystal, means we are compressing this piezoelectric crystal from this two side, and due to the compression at this 2 point the EMF will produce, and that can be measured with the help of this galvanometer. So while we compress, the voltage increases, and when it reaches, or we can say its original position after compression, then voltage will get reduced. So as we apply the mechanical pressure, that will be converted into the electrical signal. So this is the type of active transducer. It does not require any electrical input signal for the actuation as an actuation quantity. Now the next is LVDT transducer or passive transducer. Why this transducer is called passive transducer? Because it requires the AC excitation for the operation. Now in this type of transducer construction, we have the primary winding and two secondary windings, both are connected in differential manner. Means EMF of coil 1 and EMF of coil 2, means E1 minus E2 is equal to output, means E output. So this core is movable core. We can move this core in x positive x direction and negative x direction. So as we move this core, the cutting action of magnetic lines of force which are which are coming from the primary side, and which they are going to the secondary side. So as we move the core, if the core is at ES1, so ES1 will develop maximum EMF compared to ES2. So ES1 is ES1 minus ES2, so output is positive. And if the core position is at center, means like this, so both coil will develop the same EMF. So ES1 minus ES2 will become 0, because both coil will develop the same EMF. And if the core position at ES2, so ES2 will have more EMF compared to ES1, so output is negative. So with the help of LVDT we can measure the positive displacement as well as the negative displacement with the help of LVDT. So this animation shows that this is the hollow bobbin in which we are rotating this core. On the bobbin we have the two windings, means primary winding and two secondary windings, both are connected in differential manner. So this when this core reaches at the center, galvanometer is showing null, and when this core is going upward, this galvanometer is showing the positive displacement, and when this coil is going downward, galvanometer is showing the negative displacement. So by this principle we can check the, or we can measure the physical quantity, means displacement in terms of voltage. So these are the animation of active and passive transducer, from which you can understand the principle of active and passive transducers. So in the next slide, the next classification of the transducer is means first of all we'll check the comparison of active and passive transducer, then we'll classify the transducers again. So as we already discussed the active transducer and passive transducer, this is the difference of two quantities, means active and passive. The first is it do not need the external power supply in the active, and passive requires the external supply. And for active transducer, they are the self generating in nature, and it produce the voltage or current proportional to the physical quantity to be measured. And the passive transducer produce the variation in the resistance, capacitance or inductance in response to the physical quantity being measured. so that we already discussed in the previous slide animation. Now the examples of active transducers are thermocouple, PV sensors. PV sensor basically the photo cells, and piezoelectric transducer. We discussed this piezoelectric transducer in detail in the previous slide. The examples of passive transducers are thermistor, LDR, LVDT, and phototransistor. Means we if we want to measure the physical quantity, we need to give the excitation to this type of transducers. That's why this transducers called passive transducers. So this is the difference between active transducer and passive transducer. The next classification is analog and digital. So this word is associated with the output signal. So for the analog type of transducer, so input quantity is means this transducer convert the input quantity into the analog output, means this output is a function of time. So these are the names of analog transducers: stream gauge, LVDT, thermocouple, thermistor, all produce the analog output. And the digital transducer basically convert the input quantity into the electrical output, which is in form of pulses. So it can be sensed by the light source, or it may be an optical system, it may be a photo cell. So these are the names of digital transducer. So this is the second classification is analog and digital transducer. Now the third classification is primary and secondary transducer. The definition of primary and secondary transducer is somewhat similar to active and passive transducer, but from this figure we can easily bifurcate the primary and secondary transducer. So here in the diagram we have one transducer is passive transducer is LVDT, and one active transducer is Burden tube. So we are measuring pressure in form of electrical output. So here we are giving pressure in the input. So as we give the input, this Burden tube is has the good elasticity. So as we give the input pressure, according to the input pressure and the shape of this Burden tube will get expand, and it will try to stretch and try to become straight. So as this Burden tube will expand and try to become the straight, the string which is connected will get pulled with by the Burden tube, and as this string will pull, the core which is connected with this string will also move, and as this core moves, the secondary of the LVDT will produce the EMF accordingly. So this Burden tube acts or we can say Burden tube is called active transducer in this diagram, and this LVDT is called the passive transducer, because uh, uh, it requires the AC excitation, and this is the active transducer. So primary transducer basically converts the input quantity into the, means whatever the physical quantity we give, convert into the mechanical quantity, and that mechanical quantity further converted into the electrical quantity with the help of secondary transducer. So from this diagram we can easily bifurcate the primary and secondary transducer. So the secondary transducer means displacement is then converted into the change of EMF. So using LVDT, so LVDT acts as a secondary transducer, and this Burden tube acts as a primary transducer. So you can write the difference of primary transducer and secondary transducer from this discussion and from this diagram. Now the next principle is transduction principle, means classification is based on the transduction principle, means operating principle. So basically we have the different elements in the electrical engineering, and we use the working principle and characteristic of operating characteristic of that elements for the measurement of physical quantity. So transduction principle, basically the first point is capacitive transduction, the second one is electromagnetic transduction. So in the capacitive transduction we check the we use the area of the plate, we use the distance between two plates, and we use the dielectric medium type for the measurement of the physical quantity into the electrical signal. And the next point in the transduction principle is electromagnetic transduction. We use MMF change in this type of transduction principle, and that change in mmf we can measure in terms of electrical output. And the third point is inductive transducer. So as we change the inductance change, I already explained in the previous slides that inductance basically depending upon the distance between two adjacent turns, the thickness of the conductor or the length of the conductor. So we use that principle to measure the physical quantity that we want to measure. Then piezoelectric, that we already discussed in the detail. Then photovoltaic transduction. So we discussed this photovoltaic transduction in detail, and will elaborate this transduction principle with the help of the below diagram. So for the photovoltaic transduction, generally it converts to voltage, means converted to voltage generated when the junction between the dissimilar material is illuminated. Means here we are providing illumination with the help of sun over here, and we use two plates, means positive plate and negative plates. In between positive plates and negative plates we have the depletion layer. So whenever the beam or illuminated source throw the light on this p type and n type material, then p type has the majority charge carriers are holes, and minority charge carriers are electron. And in the n type plate, we have the majority charge carriers are electron and minority charge carriers are holes. So due to this depletion layer, they cannot recombine easily from one plate to other plate. But once the light is, or this device illuminated, the depletion layer will become, we can say, we can break the depletion layer between p type and n type plate, and the recombination of the charges will take place, and the charge will start flowing like this. So you can see that this is the flowing of charge once we illuminated this plate, and this is the load which is connected. So this bulb is the bulb will be glown once the recombination of the charge will take place, because of the illuminated plates. Now this is the internal structure of photovoltaic transduction. As I explained, p type material, n type material, means these two are the plates, and the above surface is anti-reflection coating. So if this plate is glossy, then necessary amount of beam will not penetrated, and it will get reflected. So this beam, the heat which is produced, we cannot break this junction, and recombination of charges will not take place, and so as the current will not flow from the p to n plate. So this is the diagram which shows the photovoltaic transduction. Now the photovoltaic transduction physics is again explained over here. This is the object, means through which we are illuminating the plates. This is the above plate, means upper plate. This is the bottom plate. Between these two plates we have the depletion layer. This below plates is p type semiconductor. For p type we have the majority charge carriers are holes, and minority charge carriers are electron. And this is the n type semiconductor plate. For n type semiconductor plates we have the minority charge carriers are holes, and majority charge carriers are electrons. So this blue lines, two blue lines indicates this is the depletion layer. Now in this you can see that at that depletion layer, these are the positive charge, and the below side we have the negative charges. They are not easily crossing this depletion layer because this junction is very strong. Now once the light is illuminated or light is thrown on the this two plates, this will get heated up, and the depletion layer will get broken, and charge recombination of charges will take place. So from the p type, this holes and electrons recombination will take place, and charges start flowing through the wire. And if we connect a load between these two points, we can drive that load with the help of this flow of charge. So This is the working principle of photovoltaic transduction. These are some other transduction principles that we already discussed. For the resistance transduction, we use strain gauge and thermistor, resistance hygrometer, and photovoltaic cell. And for the capacitive transduction principle, we use capacitance pressure gauge, then capacitor microphone for, and for the dielectric gauge. So generally we are using the characteristic working operating characteristic of capacitor while we measure the physical quantity with the help of such elements. And this in the inductance transduction principle, magnetic circuit means transducers, we use reluctance principle, we use the differential transformer principle, we use the eddy current gauge principle, we use magnetostration gauge principle. So basically we use the property of working ability of the inductor, and from that we are measuring the physical quantity. And voltage and current can be this transduction principle can be done with the help of Hall effect transducer, then ionization chamber, and then photo emissive cell. So these are the transduction principle for different elements. Then self generating transducer, so thermocouple, thermopile, moving coil generator. We discuss all the transducers in detail in next consequent chapter, so no need to worry about the working principle of these transducers. Now the last classification of the transducer is transducer and inverse transducer. So basically transducer converts physical quantity into the electrical quantity, and inverse transducer basically converts electrical quantity into the non-electrical quantity. Means this transducer is called vice versa transducer. So the one example suppose we can give over here is piezoelectric crystal. So piezoelectric crystal basically vice versa transducer. When we give the input as in form of mechanical quantity, so as we apply pressure on the two side means two surfaces of the uh, piezoelectric crystal, it will produce the EMF. And as we give the input signal as electrical quantity, this device will get vibrated. So this is the vice versa transducer. So these are the classification of the transducer. And the next slide indicates uh, the questions which are related to this topic, means worksheet number 3 and the assignment questions. So these are the most MP question of this chapter. You have to write in the assignment, and this is the worksheet question. So the instruction related to the worksheet and assignment is written in uh, below this assignment question. So please read it carefully. You can take the snap of this questions, and you can write these questions. So thank you students, thank you very much. And if you have any doubt or any query related to this topic, feel free to call me anytime, and you can WhatsApp me, or you can mail me your queries, and we can solve your queries in the doubt solving session also. Thank you very much student. Jai Swaminarayan. Thank you very much. Thank you all.